me take just to based on
students. So there is just no way that kind of school can give proper education. There's very little teaching. If you pass there during the day, you see the students roaming the streets. They're just running up and down. So there is very little control of the school system. And that worries me. It worries me a great deal. And the reason I want to say that sometimes we place the blame where it doesn't belong. Clearly, more than, well, I would say about 95% of the schools in the secondary schools, for instance, belong to the states. It's not the federal government matter. The schools belong to the states. And the state governments, in most places, had taken over the schools, even from the missionaries. So they have in their hands more schools than they can deal with. They don't have the right kind of
Sir, the sons and daughters of Mbaise have come back home.
Yes.
But I want to take you on this so did I call it craze in court of our youngsters, you know, trying to jet out of the country, even when they don't have really a vision of what they are going out for. They just, for the sake of going out, they are going out, you know. I believe traveling around the world, you have met so many people in different conditions. And what really would you like to see our youth do? They have the right to go, to pursue any ambition they have, but with a purpose, so that they don't bring down the name of this country, and they don't misrepresent their families and so on while they're there.
Okay, let me first of all say it's a very big tragedy for our national development. But again, on the other hand, let's also look at those who regulate policies for education and so on. How well have they situated guidance and counseling as a system in our secondary schools and before university? You find out that the youths are embracing the wrong models because they are not counseled, they are not guarded to choosing a career that is going to take them to, it would be promised land. If people are counseled about the kind of discipline they want to pursue, they'll be well strengthened in it and will see the need to see it as a contribution, that there is a space you're occupying in this universe. So our education policymakers must look at, have a rethink and another look at guidance and counseling for those who are in the secondary schools before they proceed to universities. It's quite unfortunate for those people who have not been outside this country, who think on the streets of America they pick dollars and so on. It's just a basic orientation that was missing somewhere, a missing link somewhere along the line when they were in secondary school. Again, also look at it from the perspective, how well does a Nigerian who's a student in a secondary school know about his country? A lot of us don't know about the history of Nigeria and therefore cannot be good ambassadors, because it is only when you know about a thing that you can authoritatively talk about it. But it's a great challenge for our policymakers, our policy formulators, to begin to think of the guidance and counseling I've just said in the secondary school system, so that we can have better people who can manage their environments, manage their resources within the confines of a new thinking for national development.
What role do you think people like this that have come can play in this regard?
I mean, in this environment we're talking about now?
Yes, I mean the people that have come now, what role can they play in trying to conscientize those who have the dream of pursuing their careers outside of this country and so on? How will they play?
Now, it's like plowing back to the system what you have received from the system. Everybody must, who has been abroad, must endeavor to come back home, look at the environment, and begin to plow back into the system what you have gotten from abroad, and begin to conscientize the younger ones who have not been where you have been, to say it is not so green outside there, but this is what it is. For instance, if a platform like the Mbaise Development Initiative decides to rehabilitate or build a new secondary school, they should be part of the policies of making sure that the aims and objectives of that kind of setup is met by putting in some teachers who can begin to mold and remold the students in that atmosphere to say, okay, this is what it is when you get out there. This is how well you can be if you want to be an engineer, an actor, a medical practitioner, and so on. And the world of knowledge you bring back here is what you are going to set the pace with. Let us begin to look at the likes of Dr. Nanda Azikiwe, Chief Obanfe Awolowo, and those who were in the front banner of going outside this country and imparting the knowledge, and the kind of standards they set by the newspapers, the setup, and all other entrepreneurship. Let us begin to look in that area and say, these men had a vision to bring back what they learned from abroad and set some standards here. And I think organizations like this can set a kind of platform and begin to plow back to the system, because the greatest tragedy that can happen to somebody is poverty of the mind. And a lot of our people are not so ambitioned to know what tomorrow or what they think their tomorrow should be.
Thank you.
Recently, the Minister of, I don't know what you think.
I have restrained myself from taking the minister in the press, but I think that's a double speak, because this is the same minister who had told us Nollywood is the best thing that has ever happened to Nigeria. So it's a double speak. Let me stop at that. I wouldn't want to take words without on the pages of newspapers or in the press. Okay. Thank you.
Why are you here?
Yes. Well, first of all, it's our pleasure to be back here in Nigeria. All the Mbaise citizens in the United States, I represent them as their national president. In the United States, in all the 50 states, we have at least 50 community organizations of Mbaise people. And we feel that we do have inherent responsibility to come back to our homeland and try to work with those people here on the ground and try to figure out a solution to the numerous problems and issues that confront our homeland. In a nutshell, that's why we're here today.
Sir, I don't know if I heard you very well when you said you are going to present a trophy to the Mbaise youths.
Yes.
What are you aiming at?
Yes. Well, first of all, we think that apart from all the social problems and issues that confront our people, and I'm sure other communities also have their own handful of issues and problems, but in Mbaise situation, we believe that the community is lacking in infrastructure in terms of electricity, clean water, health care, and many other social infrastructure that we do not have. In addition to that, we believe also that hope, the spirit of community, is dying in our community. We believe that there's a lot of youngsters that graduate from universities, even before they graduate out from secondary schools, that do not have any opportunities open for them. One of those initiatives Mbaise people took in the United States is to present a trophy, so much so that secondary school boys and girls can compete in sports, and then we provided a trophy to redeem at the end of each sports program. And starting with the first year that we will be implementing this, we will have to redeem that cup with a minimum of 250,000 naira. That is our sports initiative for secondary school kids.